गलितम फलम सुखमुखाद अमृतद्रव संयुतम पिबत भागवतम रसमाल्यम मूढ़ो रसिका भूय भावुका. So today we are going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text number 6. So let me share the screen. So this is a chapter where Lord Krishna going to Dwarka. So I'll recite the verse and 3 times, and then after that you can follow. Nyadyo vyadhaya klesha deva bhutatma hetava ajat satrav abhavan jantu nam ragikar hichit nadhyo vyadhaya klesha deva bhutatma hetava ajat satrav abhavan jantu nam rajnikar hichit nadhyo vyadhaya klesha deva bhutatma hetava ajat satrav abhavan jantu nam ragikar hichit. Please recite.
नाधयो व्यादय क्लेशा दैव भूतात्महेतवा अजातशत्रवा भवन् जन्तूनां राज्ञिकर्हिचित्.
नादयो व्याधया क्लेशा दैवभूतात्महेतवा अजातशत्रवा भवन् ज्ञातूनां राज्ञिकर्हिचित्.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Nadhiyo vyadhaya klesha dvaiva bhutatma hitavaha ajat satra abhavan jantu nama rajni karichit. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nadayo yadaya klesha daiva bhutatma hetava ajata satra abhavam jantanum rajnikar hichit.
Nadayo vyataya klesha daiva bhutatma hetava ajata satro abhavan jantunam rajnikar hichit.
Anyone else would like to say?
नाधयो व्याधय क्लेशा दैव भूतात्म हेतव अजातशत्राव अभवन् जन्तूनां राज्ञिकर्हिचित्.
Okay, so let's proceed. We will read the synonyms, translation purport. Na, never. Adhya, anxieties. Vyadhya, diseases. Klesha, trouble due to excessive heat and cold. Deva, Bhuta, Atmaha, or due to body, supernatural power, and other living beings. Hetava, due to the cause of Ajat Shatrahu, unto one who has no enemy. Abhavan happened, Jantunam of living beings, Ragi unto the king, Karhichit at any time. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charan Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Because of kings having no enemy, the living beings were not at any time disturbed by mental agonies, diseases, or excessive heat or cold. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. To be non-violent to human beings and to be killer or enemy of the poor animal is Satan's philosophy. In this age, there is enmity towards poor animals, and therefore the poor creatures are always anxious. The reaction of poor animals is being forced on human society, and therefore there is always the strain of cold or hot war between man individually, collectively, or nationally. At the time of Maharaj Yudhishthira, there were no different nations, although there were different subordinate states. The whole world was united, and the supreme head, being a trained king like Yudhishthira, kept all the inhabitants free from anxiety, diseases, and excessive heat and cold. They were not only economically well-to-do, but also physically fit and undisturbed by supernatural power. By enmity from other living beings and by disturbance of body and mental agonies. There is a proverb in Bengali that a bad king spoils the kingdom and a bad housewife spoils the family. This truth is applicable here also. Because a king was pious and obedient to the Lord and sages, because he has no other enemies, and because he was a recognized agent of the Lord and therefore protected by him, all the citizens under the king's protection were so to speak, directly protected by the Lord and his authorized agents. Unless one is pious and recognized by the Lord, he cannot make others happy who are under his care. There is a full cooperation between man and God and man and nature, and this conscious cooperation between man and God and man and nature, as exemplified by King Yudhishthira, can bring about happiness, peace, and prosperity in the world. The attitude of exploiting one another, the custom of the day, will only bring misery. Om Ajnana Timidasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilita Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kada Mahim Dadati Swapatantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadikam Shri Gurun Vishnam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanutam Tam Sajim Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijan Saitam Krish Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Nimitamscha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपीकांत राधा कांता नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचरण निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारणे पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्त रूप स्वरूपकं भक्तवतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्त शक्तिकं नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्ण कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतश नमः वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। यम प्रवजन्तम अनुपेतम अपेत कृत्यम द्वैपायनो विरकातरजुहा पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तर्वोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूत हृदयं मुनिम् आनतोऽस्मि यस्वानुभावम् अखिल श्रुति सारमेकम् आध्यात्मदीपम् अतितरस्तां तुमन्दं संसारिणां करुणाय पुराणगुह्यं तं व्यासनमोपयामि गुरुमुनीनां नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। क्षणवतां स्वकथा कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हर्दन्तस्तु भद्राणि विघ्नोति स्वसाम् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवसेव्या भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नष्टकी. Hare Krishna. So I'll read one more time the verse. Nadhyo vyadhaya klesha deva bhutatma hetava ajat satrava bhavan jantu nam ragya karichit. Because of the kings having no enemy, the living beings were not at any time disturbed by mental agonies, diseases, or excessive heat or cold. So here, we'll go by line the purport. The very first line Srila Prabhupada mentioned here is that to be non-violent to human beings and to be a killer or enemy of the poor animals is Satan's philosophy. So here, many people thinks about that human beings only are important in this world. So they sometimes preach this philosophy that become non-violent, but non-violent they only keep up to the human being. They do not actually care about other living entities. In Srimad Bhagavatam, various places this word is used called praja. We have heard that Lord Brahma is the first Prajapati, and there's many other Manu Maharaj and so many other were Prajapati. So Praja in means not just human being, but all 8,400,000 species of life. Means everybody, including animals, plants, they all come in a Praja. So when a king is ruling the kingdom, it is a duty of the king to give protection to everyone, not just the human being. All the animals, even rat, snake, pig, dog, monkey, everyone, and including all the trees, all sorts of animal, living entities should be given the protection. But in today's society, we are only preaching philosophy, like many people preach philosophy to become non-violent. We see ahimsa paramo dharma, like these philosophies, people are preaching that, even we see Mahatma Gandhi, he's saying become non-violent movement, something like that. So people think that, oh, that's a great thing. But on the other side, they are killing poor animals. They are killing, or they are basically cutting trees, or they are not really taking care of the trees. So Srila Prabhupada said that is Satan's philosophy. If you are trying to become non-violent human being, on the same time you are to become killer and enemy of the poor animals, this is Satan's philosophy. And in the next slide, Prabhupada said, in this age, there is enmity towards poor animal. Unnecessary people are killing animals without any really benefit. So, I remember one time I was in my office. So suddenly one small insect was there, one small worm was there on the floor. So one of my colleague, he just stand up and then he start crushing that animal, that small creature. He was putting his feet and then crushing him. He was so cruel in killing that animal. I was thinking, what and this particular small jiva has done wrong to him. He was just crawling on the ground and is not even touching him. But this fellow, this my colleague, he was just crushing him, say, this has to be killed. And I was shocked. I was what is the problem with this this person has, what enmity he has towards this animal. So here, that's what Prabhupada says, that in this age, there is an enmity towards poor animal. See, animals are not really rather we have seen in the Vedic system, there are many animals who have actually helped the human society, especially cow. Cow and bull, they are the best animal. They have helped human society so much. But we see there is so much enmity towards them that they are, after taking the milk, after taking the service from the animal, the human society, they have opened the slaughterhouses to kill all the animals, all the cows and bulls. So here, that's what Prabhupada mentioned, that there is a enmity towards poor animal. Therefore, poor creatures are always anxious. So this is law of karma. See, if if someone gives pain to another living entity, whether that will be a human being, whether that will be an animal, whether that be a trees, plants, or any kind of things. This is called what you call sinful activity. Giving pain to other living entity is a sinful activity, and that pain will definitely going to come back on the person who is putting that pain on that particular living entity. So that's why Prabhupada in the next line he says that the reaction of the poor animal is being forced on human society, because there is a large killing of the animals. We have so many slaughterhouses are like there in the society. Because of that, the collective pain that human society is enforcing on these all poor animals, that is being basically coming on us. That's why we see in the society so many problems. So many problems are there in society. And why? Because our head of the state, the government, they have organized this this constant giving pain to the other poor animals. That's why Prabhupada said therefore there is always a strain of cold and hot war between man individually, collectively, or nationally. So this is the impact. When the animals or the other living entity are in always in anxious condition, because they are not being protected by the head of the state and the human society. Those pain, those kind of stress, we are going to go through that. And here, like whether it's come like between the nations. Right now we see so many. We were like after Second World War, we were in the Cold War scenario. Like so many countries were there, like for so long that Cold War was going on. Then after that, there is another war, like the Gulf War. There is like Afghan War. We see always war is going on somewhere in the world. War never stops. Like it just keep going on, whether it's a hot war or cold war. But there is always there. The reason is like because the pain that we have given, like as a collective, as a human society, we have put it on the animal society or the other societies of living entities. We are feeling that pain. So at that and Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, at the time of Maharaj Yudhishthira, there was no different nations. Now, if you see today, this world is divided into 7 continents. Like we have 7 continents. So many countries are there. All these, they're divided. They are ruled by different rules. Different type of government is there. So they're all different, and they are following their own way of maintenance and philosophy. But at the time of Maharaj Yudhishthira, it was one. That's called Bharatvarsha. The whole this whole Earth planet is called Bharatvarsha, and there, like it was ruled by Maharaj Yudhishthira, and actually Maharaj Parikshit also later, when Maharaj Yudhishthira gave to Maharaj Parikshit, he was also ruling that. So all of them, even though there were different countries, they were all subordinate state. The whole world was united. United means like they were all ruled by one head of the state, that is Maharaj Yudhishthira, the supreme head. And that Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was a trained king. Trained in the sense that he was Dharmaraj. Maharaj Yudhishthira, he know what is dharma. Like he himself is the incarnation of dharma. So he know like how to properly rule the kingdom without giving pain to anyone. So that's why, because he was a pious king, he was a great devotee of the Lord. He kept all the inhabitants free from anxiety, disease, and excessive heat and cold. So if you go over here, like these 3 things mentioned in this verse, it's called here Deva, Bhuta, Atma. So there, Deva, Bhuta, Atma, these 3 things are mentioned here. These three are basically 3 types of miseries that we are basically inflicted upon. So Deva is Adi Devik. That's what we generally use, like the word Adi Devik. The supernatural calamities that we go through, especially like the hurricane, or maybe tornadoes, tsunami, or like excessive heat, cold, all those kind of things. Nowadays, people who are from India, they are feeling that in India there is so much of heat right now. Our summer came very early there. Temperature is rising about like 49 to 50 degrees centigrade like there right now. It's so hot, it's very difficult for people to survive in that excessive heat, right? Sometimes we see very cold here, like in especially I remember we used to get this polar vortex, like so big cold air coming from the North Pole. So sometimes so much heat, sometimes so much cold. Why is that? Because these are all basically coming from the supernatural powers, especially the demigods. They are inflicting this pain on the human society, because the pain that we have given to the other living entity, we have to go through that pain. We see like big hurricane comes sometime, some big storm comes. All these supernatural things, what happened, they are basically is a collective pain that we have to go through, because that's basically taken by done by the head of the state. If the government starts inflicting pain on the other living entity like the animals or the trees and plants, those pains somehow or other will going to come to back to us. This is a law of karma, like what goes in, what goes out, whatever we basically put the pain on the other living entity, same pain we are going to experience some part of time. So that is deva. Then bhuta is adibhautik tap, like which is misery. The whatever the pain we inflict on the other living entity. Other living entity may be like by killing them, or by torturing them, by body, mind, and our words. Like these three ways we basically give trouble to other living entity. Right. So like sometimes we basically say bad words, or we basically hurt other living entity by saying strong words towards them. That's a pain. That whatever the pain we are basically inflicting on other living entity by whether by body, our mind, or the words. If we inflict by the body, that has a major impact. If somebody hits someone, like by or killing someone, right? So that's a major sinful reaction that we are going to get it. Then words is a little lesser than that, and the mind is little, because it's Kali Yuga. In this age of Kali Yuga, if people who basically do become violent through their mind, that have no impact. Like in Bhagavatam, it's mentioned that all the actions done by the mind is not taken care. Only for the non-devotees. For devotees, we have to be careful, because we are trying to serve Krishna, and in that way, even if we do something through our mind, we are going to have reaction for that. So these, like the adibhautik tap, is like when we are whatever the pain we are inflicting on other living entity, we are going to get that through the process of either like they're going to create some trouble in the form of war, like because the war between the nation and nation is adibhautik tap. One set of people fighting another set of people. Like right now we see there's a war going on between Russia and Ukraine. Even though there's a fight between Russia and Ukraine, but whole world is suffering. It's not that they are only feeling the pain. We see like nowadays, like prices are rising, everywhere we see like so much people are going to suffer because of economic problems now. World is talking about they are going to go recession now. Stock market is crashing, all the prices are going high. How the poor people will survive? It is very difficult because of this kind of just one war. Just think about if the war is spread, what is going to happen to this world? All of so much pain will come for all of us, right? These are all adibhautik people, like people fighting, the human being fighting another human being. And then the third type of misery which is mentioned here is atma. Atma means adhyatmikta, which is coming from our body, our mind, and our own self. So here it says adhya and vyadhya. These two words, adhi and vyadhi. Adhi means like the pain which we do not see, and vyadhi is the pain or the problem which manifests. So for example, if somebody has a fever, that's called vyadhi, because you can see that the person has a manifested what you call the fever. You can experience that body is hot, like 102 degree, 103 degree, the body is hot. So we can see that. But if somebody have anxiety in a mind that we cannot see, that's adhya. So here Srila Prabhupada translates adhya as anxieties, vyadhya as a disease. These are all coming to the body. So whatever the pain that we are feeling, whatever the suffering we are going through from our diseases, through our mental problems, they are coming to the adhyatmic tap or adhyatmic miseries. So these problems that we go through nowadays, we see in the today's human society, we are going through so much of mental distress. Physical problem is one place. With the medical science, like they are trying to at least get free from some of the diseases. But mental problems, like especially like the anxiety, is building in everyone. Fear. Like we are very much now in today's society. People are very much fearful because of their situation, where the world is going on, what's going to happen in the future. All those kind of things are basically very creating very difficult scenario for us. So in Srila Prabhupada on this verse, Srila Prabhupada in his lecture, he mentioned that that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Devi Hesha Gunmai Mam Maya Drutya Mame Vi Prabhadante Mayam Etam Tamtite. These three miseries are basically inflicted upon us by the material energy, by this Maya. So how we can come out of this Maya? Like, what is the solution? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mame Ye Prapadanti. Anyone who takes shelter of me, Mayam Etam Tarantite, they can easily cross over this material miseries. So Devi Hesha Gunamai, these three modes of material nature, this material energy which is made up of goodness, passion, ignorance, it is very difficult to overcome by our own endeavor. But if we can take shelter of Krishna, it is easily become for us, very easy for us, we are able to come out from this Maya. That's what here, like in the next line, Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, that Yudhishthira kept all the inhabitants free from anxiety, disease, excessive heat and cold. Because Yudhishthira was a great devotee of the Lord. Because he was ruling the kingdom not by his own rules, by whatever the Lord Krishna established. He was following the order of Lord Krishna strictly. Because of that, he was able to basically rule the kingdom very nicely. And many times it is compared that at that time everyone was so happy. We'll see that that everyone was so happy. Nobody have any disease, any problems, no anxiety, no excessive heat and cold. Like all those things were there when King Yudhishthira was ruling the kingdom. Then in the next section was they were not only economically well-to-do, but also physically fit, undisturbed by supernatural power, by enmity from other living beings, and by disturbance of bodily and mental agony. So this all we discussed just now, like all these problems, which is called Adhyatmik, Adidevik, Adibhautik. All three types of miseries were completely absent. They were not there like during the time of Maharaj Yudhishthira. So here Srila Prabhupada another mentioned that there is a proverb in Bengali that a bad king spoils the kingdom and a bad housewife spoils the family. Okay, so Mataji can comment about how a bad housewife can spoil the family, But at least definitely a bad king, like we see like in our society, all this today you take any country, they are all ruled by the head of the state. They are sinful. They are not following proper rule dharma. Because of that, every country in the world is basically going through problems. Not a single state we can say that which has been having going through very, very nicely. Actually, in Srimad Bhagavatam, if you see, like in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's mentioned in 12th canto. In the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that in the age of Kali, everyone will be disturbed by these three kind of tribulations. Everyone. Even like sometimes devotees, we also feel some pain, right? Like even though we are protected by the Lord, but still sometimes some here and there we also feel a little bit. But as long as we are taking complete shelter of Krishna, we are well protected. But still we feel, right? So, and in the 12th canto is mentioned that like scarcity of rain. Where we want proper rain, it won't be there. But where we don't want don't want rain, there will be excessive rain, excessive water, famine, excessive taxation, heavy taxation by the government. This is common. You see, like there is, whatever happen, like taxing, taxes are increasing. Many people are scared, like in the future whether they get their social security or not, because the government is like you are paying so much taxes, their future is not secure because taxes are keep increasing, because there are so many things are like government is unnecessary. They are using the money on things which they should not use, building arms, ammunition, fighting with other countries. So many things are there. So because human beings are more and more becoming sinful, there will be scarcity of rain, and naturally no food grains will be produced. So in 12th canto it is mentioned that because human society is going down and down, and they're doing more and more sinful activity, there will be time come that there will be scarcity of water, drinking water. We can see that in the today's society there are many places where there is no proper water to drink. Drinking water is becoming like a luxury there, like proper water and food grains. So slowly the earth will stop giving proper food grains for the human society. So and also it's mentioned that in this the member of such a government are described as the so like in Kali Yuga, the head of the state, they are being like 12th canto, it says that they are thieves. Their main job is to basically plunder the wealth of the people only. They're not there to help. They are not there to help the human society. Rather, they are there to collect heavy taxes and then fill their pockets. So whether it's like Shilva was mentioned in that, like there is mentioned that whether a highway robber or a government thief, such a man will be punished in the next life by being thrown into the hell known as Sarmedana, where he will suffer greatly from the bites of ferocious dogs. So people who are basically creating problem, especially like the head of the state, when they are creating problem for the living entities, they ultimately go into the hell. But nowadays actually people are not following it. So for them it doesn't matter, like they don't believe whether there is a life after death or not, or whether they will go to hell or not. So here, like Srila Prabhupada, like I'll continue here in the purport. This truth is applicable here also, because the king was pious and obedient to the Lord and sages, because he has no other enemies, because he was recognized as agent of the Lord. Therefore, protected by him all the citizens under the king's protection. So to speak, directly protected by the Lord and his authorized agent. So here in this particular verse, this Ajat Shatra, this word is basically used for Maharaj Yudhishthira, because he doesn't have any enemies. Means like he never considered anyone as enemies, and he was very obedient, as we discussed. That he was very obedient to the Lord Krishna, and he was following the rules of according to the guidance of the sages, especially like Bhishma Pitama. In the previous chapter, we saw that Bhishma Pitama instructed him, who is a great Mahajan, instructed him in the like how a king should rule the kingdom. What is the Raj Dharma? What is the duty of a king? And Maharaj Yudhishthira followed very strictly those points. That's why he has no he was recognized by the Lord, and his kingdom was protected. Unless one is pious and recognized by the Lord, he cannot make others happy who are under his care. So this is very important, especially like as a devotee. When we please the Lord, we can actually make other people happy. Without becoming great devotee of the Lord, it is difficult for us to basically preach. Like even in our when we go out preach, I remember my days, like when I used to go out for book distribution. if you really like want to successful in outside, sometime like I used to feel okay, I'm we are basically uh, like giving this Krishna consciousness to the living entity, and when we take shelter of the Lord, then Krishna will respond. But if we little puffed up, then that days become very difficult for us to preach. So here, like Srila, unless one is pious and recognized by the Lord, he cannot make other happy who are under his care. So there is a full cooperation between man and God, man and nature. So these three things need to be synchronized: the human being, the human society, the God, and the nature. And this conscious cooperation between man and God, man and nature, as exemplified by the King Yudhishthira, can bring the happiness, peace, and prosperity in the world. So there should be complete balance between these three. There is no scarcity in the world actually. Like in Shri Shopanishad, in the first mantra, it is mentioned that Isha Vashamidam Sarom Yat Kincha Jagatam Jagat Ten Takvina Bhunjita Ma Gha Kasasiddhanam. So there it is mentioned that like if everything in this material world, where or in the spiritual, whatever we see, everything animate or inanimate, what is there we can see is owned and controlled by the Lord. And we should only accept whatever is set aside as a quota for us. But if we don't do that, then what happens? We will create the problem in the society. If one living entity takes more than what is allotted to him, then what happens? Other living entity will basically have a scarcity. So in reality, there is no scarcity in the material world, but it's all created because there is no cooperation between human beings, between living entity, and also there is no cooperation between living entity and the God. God means the demigods. Like in Bhagavad Gita, in the 3rd chapter, Krishna mentioned that I have sent forth the generation of demigods and the human being, and they should perform the sacrifice. And by performing sacrifice, there will be cooperation between demigods and human beings. And then with that cooperation, demigods become pleased, and they will give you all types of rain, light, all those kinds will be available. And then with that, human society will get all the necessary things. There is mentioned, Krishna mentioned that how the cooperation between demigods and human beings will work. So that's what Prabhupada mentioned here also, that there should be complete cooperation between man and God, and the man and the nature. The nature is basically this material nature. How to basically we should basically take care of other living entities. There should be complete balance over there. And if that is there, then there will be happiness, peace, and prosperity. And the last line here, Prabhupada says that the attitude of exploiting one another, what is the custom of the day, will only bring misery. So this is what in Kali Yuga, what we are doing is this attitude of giving misery to other, which has become like everyday affair here in the material world, is only become the cause of our miseries going forward. And that's the nature of Kali Yuga. Like people are basically suffering, but they are not realizing why they are suffering. So here Srila Prabhupada gives very nice formula that we should actually cooperate between living entity and living entity, and between man and God, and between man and the nature. Then prosperity will come, as we see in the time of Maharaj Yudhishthira. So let me stop here and see if anyone have any comments or questions or any realization you want to share.
Anybody has any questions or comments, please just unmute yourself. One thing I was thinking is when you were talking about Mahatma Gandhi, not only that, this non-violence should be exhibited to any living entity. And just like your experience, I noticed that even in preschool, they see a little bug and they just go and crush it. And I say, why? This bug has not bothered you. Why do you? But that is how they have been taught, it just it doesn't matter, just crush, it's bothering, it's there, it shouldn't be here, just as if this whole earth belongs only to the human beings and not to any other living entity. And Mahatma Gandhi, I've never researched this, but what I had heard was that he only got protections and freedom for Indians, even in South Africa. It was not for the, the native people there that he fought, because even the African Americans, Africans were, they were not treated properly. They didn't have the freedoms, but it was only for the Indians. So how can that also be right? Every living entity. So forget just the animals, even between human beings, we differentiate so much. And that point about how a wife can, the Bengali proverb that Srila Prabhupada was using. I think we saw it yesterday, the last couple of days, the celebrations, the women, how they kept the whole family together and united. You could see, it was a vivid example for us. In one family, we saw how, the women kept everything so together. And not that men cannot do it or will not do it, but I think that example is very vivid about how women can and do keep families together. So those were the two things I was thinking. Does anybody else have any other comment, realization, questions?
Yes, I was just thinking about sacrifice. You mentioned the verse, the third verse of Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna sent forth, man into for sacrifice. But I'm just wondering, like the sacrifice, system is mainly introduced in the Vedic culture. What about all over the world, all the religions like Islam and Christianity, they don't perform sacrifice, but still you can see the materialism are more prosperous than those in the third world country, What do you think about it?
So you are saying like your question is like, what about the other
Yeah, they don't.
system? So what about the other systems which are non-Vedic? So
Yeah.
they are saying like those systems, they are performing sacrifice, but or they're not performing sacrifice, but they are still materially flourished. That's your question.
Yeah.
So my take on that is that whatever material prosperity they have, see in our Vedic system, in the Vedas it's mentioned that you perform certain kind of yajna. With that yajna, you will get certain kind of results. So if you perform like Ashwamedh yajna, you get free from sinful reactions. You perform there are various kind of yajnas are there. Like if you want to go to heavenly planets, you perform certain kind of yajna, right? So those kind of yajnas are mentioned in Vedas, but still we see like there are like countries like if we can talk about like say United States here, like there's nobody performing yajnas, but they are very materially opulent, right? And we see like Western countries and then like even Gulf countries, and they have a lot of wealth, right? But point is that like when you perform Vedic sacrifices, and when you perform the prescribed duties, the result of those duties or the result of those sacrifices, you will get material opulence, and that material opulence is auspicious for you. But when here we see the material opulence is there, but this material opulence is inauspicious for you, because this material opulence ultimately dragging you towards the hell. Even though they are materially opulent, we see, okay, there's a lot of money here, like they have a lot of buildings, a lot of like infrastructure, a lot of things are there. But is that ultimately helping them? It's not helping them. It's basically rather they are being degraded day by day. So material opulence our Shastra, Vedic system says that even the material opulence we have to take, which is auspicious for you, which actually helps you going forward, means to take you more further, like going towards prosperity. Here, even material opulence is there, but this is not an auspicious material prosperity. It is creating more problems. See, even though there's material prosperity is there, but people are still in distress. So much anxiety is there. So many diseases are there. Even though you can have like a lot of money, but you really cannot control disease. You cannot control anxiety. You cannot control war. You cannot control other problems. So many terrorist activities. All these things are there. Even though they are getting material prosperity because of their previous karmas. See, this material prosperity, what people are getting, they are not getting just because they are getting because of their previous karmas. But because they are this material prosperity, they are not using in the right direction, it is becoming inauspicious for them. See, in Vedic system, Brahmanas, they used to get like charity from big kings and all, but they use that charity and they used to donate that further, so that they will not get spoiled by that money. So if here the people have money, but they are using money in the wrong places and wrong for wrong things. So what happens is, because of that, they are entangling more into this cycle of birth and death. So this material opulence is there because of their previous karma, but they are not. That is not auspicious for them because they are not using properly. And also the way they are getting material prosperity, like even Ravana, like he has a kingdom, like even Hiranyakashipu, he got the whole world, like, but that is inauspicious for him because he doesn't use that, because he was not able to control his senses. Prahlad Maharaj, he was a small boy and he could control his senses, right? But Hiranyakashipu, even though he was a great king, he got whole opulence of the world, but he was uncontrolled senses. He could not even enjoy properly and ultimately get killed by the Lord. So even though we see people have material opulence, but this is inauspicious for them. It is not going to help them. We should take only things which helps us in the future. So this they are getting because of their karma. They are getting big. They must have done some in previous some lives. They must have done something, some activity. Because of that, they are getting this, but it's not auspicious. That's my take on. I don't like if anyone have any other comment on this. Does that help, Mataji? I know.
Yeah, in one way, yeah. In one way, I'm just thinking, like, even there's so many devout other religion, they practice the religion very nicely, like the Christian and Islam people, they're very religious. They build big mosque, big temple, big church. They give charity and they just help people, like the Christians. They go for mission, they help. They're still performing pious activities. That doesn't mean that it isn't auspicious as well.
Yeah, no. See, they are giving charity. For that, they will definitely get some result. When you do some pious activities, when you help other living entity, you will get some result. But ultimately, because their consciousness is main important thing. Like, what is the motive behind that? Are they trying to please the Lord, or they're trying to basically gain some material benefit out of that? It depends upon their consciousness. See, even in our bhakti, the main important point is how do we perform bhakti? It is our consciousness. Are we basically like serving the Lord because that we want material benefit, or we want to basically we want to become like a great wealthy person or great personality or all this, or do we want to become like pure devotee, just we are serving out of love? So depend upon the person's consciousness, whether it be a Christian or Muslim or whatever. It depend upon the person's consciousness, the what way he's basically like doing this activity. If he's really want to serve the Lord, say like, okay, I'm just giving this thing charity because I want to serve the Lord. That's good. But if they want something benefit out of that, or they might be doing charity again at a wrong place. Even Bhagavad Gita is mentioned that there are 3 types of charities. So what is your purpose about the charity? That's also there. There are many factors that can count. In a general sense, it looks like, yes, they are building mosques, they are building big churches, or they are giving a lot of money, but we don't know what is their consciousness behind that. If their consciousness is really to serve the Lord, yeah, then wonderful. But if if their consciousness is basically just to get some material benefit out of that, so they will get only that only.
Thank you, Prabhu.
All right. Okay. So anyone else?
I wonder if I could just add something to that, Ramcharan Prabhu.
Sure,
I was
yes,
thinking that a lot of times, so we heard in this lecture from you and the purport from Srila Prabhupada, about bringing anxiety even to the poor animals. And oftentimes these other religions, they don't accept the fact that animals have souls.
Yes.
And so therefore a lot of churches, I've experienced this of myself, right? They may talk about doing good, helping people, but then what do? They sit down and they have beef, they have pork, they eat the cow, they eat the chicken, they eat and so they're supporting this industry. And if you try to talk to them about it, they look at you like you're crazy. What do you mean soul has animals? Soul is not a person. Soul doesn't have any value in life, So there's a certain level of, they don't have knowledge of this. So their actions aren't complete. They help one group of people, but not all living entities. So their charity is, you could say, I guess, incomplete. And whatever piety they do, it also gets, I don't know if it gets canceled. I don't know the way proportionate works, but you can say they may be getting some good karma, but then, they're just in the same, then they go eat dinner, they're also getting bad karma.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask Prabhu. So oftentimes we hear about these pastimes in the scriptures, and we think that this is just something of the past. Okay, Maharaj Yudhisthira was there 5,000 years ago. Things were great under his rule. What is it that we can do? I wanted to hear specifically from you. The last couple of days we've been discussing this a little bit, but specifically from you, what is it that we can, or is expected of us as a Krishna conscious society to actually bring about change in this world, to be able to counter the effects of all these degrading factors that you talked about? What can we do?
Well, I remember I was reading in Science of Self-Realization, So many times Srila Prabhupada mentioned, with discussion with many, different, either different religion person, either Christianity or whatever discussion. Srila Prabhupada mentioned all the time that the only way we can bring peace and prosperity in this world is basically by performing Harinam Sankirtan. So Srila Prabhupada said that things are too much way out of control for one person to manage, 1 or 2%, even the whole collective human society, they can try to come and change the world. It is not possible. It's very difficult because it's age of Kali Yuga. Parishit Maharaj, if you see an example of Parishit Maharaj, Parishit Maharaj, when he was there going through that, then he saw a Kali personality named Kali. He's killing the like a poor animal. He's cutting the leg. And Parishit Maharaj stopped him and chastised him. He said, "You cannot come to my kingdom. You have to go out." Then he said, "No, I came because it is the order of the Lord Krishna that time for me to come here. Time for me to come here. There is no other choice. It is Lord's desire that Kali Yuga should come here." So then, by accepting Lord's wish, Parishit Maharaj said, "Okay, you can come, but you should be limited to certain place. I will not let you go anywhere. You cannot just spread everywhere and then do mess here, as long as I am here." So then he gave him 4 places. You go there like this. There is a meat eating is there. There is a gambling is there. All those kind of things, right? Then then this Kali saying, well, in your kingdom nobody is doing this, and I have to be there. It is the order of the Lord. I have to be there. Then he said, okay, then I'll give another place, gold, money, like whatever. So the Kali is already there. How to handle it? We don't know. It's going to go like this. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came especially in the age of Kali Yuga to give this holy name. The only protection, what my understanding, as you ask my own personal opinion, like whatever I have here in Shastra, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and all, everywhere Srila Prabhupada mentioned that the Sankirtan Yajna is Kali Yuga Dharma. So the more we take shelter of the holy name, collectively and individually, I'm talking about Japa and collective Harinam Sankirtan. That's the only way we can help. There is no other way. There is no other. I have my personal experience. There's no other way we can do any better to anyone in this world except giving them holy name. That's my understanding, because everywhere we have seen that, even whether Srila everyone mentioned that like Hare Nam, eva kevalam kalau nastev gatirnita. So by chanting the holy name of the Lord, by spreading, by giving them holy name to other people, either we do in a temple or we go outside Harinam or we chant, like as when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking to Haridas Thakur, then he's saying that, like, how do we can help these living entities which are basically like trees and plants and all, loudly chanting holy name. We have to give them holy name somehow or other. We have to give them holy name. That is the only shelter. Other things will not work. Yagyas or other kind of things, even other processes of like Bhakti Yoga, we have 9-fold process. Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Nivedanam. In this also, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that, like holy name is the best. The 5, like even 64 limbs of Bhakti, and out of 64 limbs, 5 things which are very potent. And out of that, Sankirtan is the best. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is the most important thing. So that is the easiest. Sankirtan and Prashadam distribution. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned many times, like he was talking to one of the chief like police commissioner in Chicago. He said, like, there are so many crimes out there in the society. How to control the crime? Prabhupada said, you give us the building and we'll open a like Hare Krishna center. We'll chant Hare Krishna and we'll distribute Prashadam. Everyone will be happy. He didn't give any other formula, like how do we do or what is going to happen. It is useless in this Kali Yuga. It is very, very difficult. Like it's very, very challenging, because before Kali Yuga came, like Maharaj Parishit was the last king. I would say like after that Kali Yuga come, right? So after that is very, very like even we see so many great personality came. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally, Lord Krishna personally came, and he also sometimes I feel like like when Lord was there, everything should be in India. There was a Mughal kingdom was there, right? So many atrocities there on the very culture. If you see like in the like history, at that time that India was ruled by the foreigners, invaders, and they were they were basically like torturing Vaishnavas even, right? They were basically, we moved the deities in the time of Aurangzeb. We moved the deities from Vrindavan to Jaipur, like Radha Govind Dev Ji, Radha like Gopinath Ji and Radha Madhav Ji. So many deities moved. So all those things were there. There will be problem in this age of Kali Yuga. But only way we can do is basically taking shelter of the Lord by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Other things is very difficult. I even personally myself feel like if I am in a great anxiety or distress, like any other kind of thing doesn't work. But when I start chanting, slowly things will cool down. And I say like okay, Krishna, it's your choice. How do you want to take it? And even like if somebody is in distress, I always say that please chant, because chanting only can help. Or basically like if they cannot chant individually, initially it is very difficult for people to take chanting bead and chant. I think we should involve them in a kirtan, because once they will come and have a taste of the holy name, that will definitely going to help them, because eventually they will come. But my like as you ask for my personal opinion, I would say like giving them holy name is the only way we can help. I do not see any other way, because other ways like are there, but it might work, it might not work. Even like I'm saying, coming to Srimad Bhagavatam hearing is not easy for everyone. like I know I'm going through this, and like many people comes and goes, because if they are not good state of mind, they cannot really hear properly. But at least chanting holy name, everyone, maybe like few people might say, look, I don't want to, but many people will basically accept this part. That's what I feel.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's great advice. And you reinforced having faith in the holy name as the deliverer from all our problems. Thank you, Prabhu. That's great.
Thank you.
I appreciate that very much.
Hare Krishna. So we have Kalpesh, you have anything to add?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji. Thank you for this class and bringing up all the aspects. Really enjoyed and very valuable points. So thank you for that. I want to share a couple of my reflections on this. I'm like doing the infrastructure work for my living, and I'm seeing from past 10 years there are floods which has increased in United States, more than what. So all the infrastructure right now, what we are working with, generally when we design something, we design based on 100-year flood event. But right now everything is failing. There is no record to see what is the record we can design for the best storm event. So, and then that connects me to the Bhagavad Gita 3.11, where there is a Devam Bhavayanteno. So in the end, it is like a Parasparam Bhavayante. So this kinds of the shloka which you did kinds of says that whatever we do, it's a mutual, right? So it's in the mutual exchange of it. So that this shloka I wanted to bring up that as a reference. Secondly, as per United Nations data, there are approximately, I think so, if I had to put it in a very straightforward numbers, if you have seen a cricket stadium ground, it is around, if you see the diameter of it, the whole thing, it is like a 4 acres. And every year, there are around 45 lakh cricket stadiums, which are being destroyed for the trees and deforestations. Yesterday, I spoke a little bit about the cows. And if you don't mind, I want to show you a video of your United Nations environmental program that will, it's just a couple of minutes, so that people know what is happening to this planet, and this kinds of connect with this shloka, if you are okay with this.
You can send in the chat, like the link, your YouTube link.
Yeah.
You can send there, like people can see there in the chat.
Okay. I have to do I select yourself, right? To chat.
Yeah, you can just put a chat and then we can basically circulate so people can see.
Yeah.
Because time is like little 9 o'clock now, so I just want to say like people has to go. So yeah, we can share this link to everyone.
Yeah, I send that link.
Okay.
To
Thank you.
yourself.
Thank you, Kalpesh.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any other question or comments before we end off today? Okay, so is there any announcement?
Yes, just tonight that we have our Sunday Feast program. Begins at 4:30. So please join us for Kirtan, and we'll have Bhagavad Gita today, a discourse by His Grace Acharya Prabhu, and then Prasadam. So we hope to see everybody there today, starting at 4:30. Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
jai. Thank you,
Wow.
Ramcharan.
Thank you all for joining. Hare Krishna everyone. Vancha kalpatarubhascha.
Upatrubhischa, Kripasundhyogevich.
Pati-
Patitanam Pavanevyo, Vaishnavevyo, Namo Namaha.
Not everybody. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.